Hey, what's going on, y'all? I got a request to do a specifications video on the Makita chainsaw bike I just got finished building from no other than Donnie Boy 73 himself. By the way, he is the small engine man. If y'all have any questions regarding two-stroke motors like this, lawnmowers, chainsaws, anything like that, pay him a visit over there at Donnie Boy 73's channel. Great channel, man. It's got all kinds of informative stuff on it. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get on with this. I know I've had a couple other people asking me how this thing was assembled. So basically what it was, I started off with a Makita DCS 6401. As you can see, I bought it at a local lawn shop for 15 bucks. It was missing the intake boot and the carburetor, so I had to get on eBay and get a new Tillotson and carburetor for it. And I found the intake boot on e-replacement parts and got the motor running. Very, very clean motor on the inside. Pistons got no scoring whatsoever. I took the muffler off and checked it out. The compression release works just fine. Engine runs like a top. So basically, once I got the motor running, the first thing I did, I machined that clutch. Now, what you have to do with that clutch, I have another video on my channel that explains that, but in a nutshell, I'll give you an explanation real quick. Basically, you got to take the chainsaw chain teeth off with the bench grinder like that I have over there. And then once you get as concentric of a circle as you can by eyeballing it, put the clutch in the lathe and then machine it off and make it perfectly circular. Next thing I did was I bought a 12-tooth sprocket off eBay. It had a 3/4 inch bore for number 35 chain, and I had to machine it out as well so that it would fit over the clutch bell. And all I did was run a weld all the way around that, and that held it on just fine. It's held on with an E-clip, just like stock. I had to put another washer in there though to keep it from having too much play back and forth. So that's what I did. That part worked fine. The mounting, it's all bed frame. That's all I ever use with these projects. The scooter too. Old bed frame from the garbage found in the dumpster. Cut it up. As you can see, it's pretty simple to design. I have a piece running across the frame of the bike and it's welded to the frame of the bike. And then to get the correct angle that I needed, I used door hinges. They're bolted through that piece. And then this piece is bolted, this piece is bolted. There's a piece going down each side, as you can see, this piece, and then another one right here. And what I did to keep those stable, I have two pieces going vertical that are bolted to the bicycle frame, like so. And they come up, and on this 90-degree right here, I've just welded a bead. And it's pretty damn sturdy, it don't go anywhere. There's another piece up front just to kind of stabilize it, and that's just welded to it. In the back, as you can see, I have two pieces going up vertically and then another piece horizontally to mount the motor. I did not do that first though. First thing I did was mount the pieces going back, and then after that I made the jack shaft assembly. That sprocket on the wheel is about a 9-inch sprocket. It's a motorized bicycle kit sprocket. It's a 56-tooth sprocket. It's going up to I forgot, it's either a 10 or 11-tooth sprocket. It's off of, I think I got it off of statininc.com. They sell a bunch of sprockets and parts. And it fits bicycle chain. This is actually bicycle chain that's on this rear wheel. I took it off the front actually because I was impatient and didn't feel like buying another one at the time. But it's a kit sprocket, and they're not bad. They're really a pain in the ass to mount, and it's still not perfectly straight and centered. I'm going to have to really get in there and eyeball it, but it's good enough for now. So that's what you got to do first. Set that one up first if you're running a jack shaft. You're more than likely going to have to run a jack shaft to get a high enough ratio so the clutch doesn't burn out. But anyway, I bolted this sprocket to the wheel first. Then I got the jack shaft set up. Alright, all the jack shaft is more bed frame, as you can see. I cut two pieces off and then welded them to this frame. And then it's drilled through to hold the pillow blocks down on it. This is a 5/8 bore shaft right here. It's keyed all the way down. Alright, 5/8 bore bearings on the inside of this. These are pressed pillow blocks. I bought them off of McMaster Car. They sell all kinds of stuff for this. So if you got any kind of project like that, or like this that you're building, that's a good place to start for parts and supplies. So anyway, like I said, first thing I set up the wheel going up to this sprocket for the jack shaft, and I made sure it was centered. I got it as straight as can be. There's a skateboard wheel down here that acts as a tensioner. It's just welded to this. There's no spring tension on or anything like that. If you want to tension it more, take these nuts off and move the wheel forward so it presses against it more, and it works pretty good. So the second thing I did, I went out and ordered a sprocket off eBay. This is a 2-inch sprocket, I think. 2 or 2.5. I think it's a 2.5-inch sprocket. And it's got a 5/8 bore as well. And it was easy to set up. All I gotta do is throw the sprocket on that shaft and then tighten the set screws with the keyway that's in there. Tighten it down. Next thing you're gonna wanna do is mount the motor. The reason you mount the motor last is so you can line it up with this sprocket. This was pretty tricky. What I did was I drilled through bed frame first, and then I clamped it with a C-clamp tight as can be to hold it, and I just kind of eyeballed it. And make sure when you're mounting the motor that it's not sideways like this or like this. If it's off to this side more or this side more, that's okay, because you can move that sprocket from side to side, so that's not an issue. Just make sure it's not pitched like that or like that. So what you do is you get it as straight as you can by eyeballing it, and that's what I did. The bar studs work perfectly for mounting points and chain tensioners, as you can see, like I've done with this one. All this is a piece that's welded to the mount, so that's easy. All you gotta do is bolt it through. I've Loctited it so it doesn't come out from all the vibration. And that was the first mount. Now after you do that, the rest of it's fairly simple. Like I said, in the back I have these 2 pieces going up that I cut, and then I measured across and then made another piece that I welded right here and right here. And the rear mounts, all I did was I drilled through the plastic handle and bolted it through, and it don't go anywhere. It moves a little bit because it's still got that anti-vibe thing on there with the springs, but it doesn't move enough to throw the chain off. So let's see what else. For throttle, it actually came off earlier while I was riding it from this piece right here, but basically all it is I crimped together this little hook piece into the carburetor venturi, and it was clamped to this this aluminum piece that held it in there real tight. Obviously it wasn't tight enough, but I'll work that out. But that moves forward and pulls the venturi open, as you can see. Let's see, after that, since this thing has an intake boot on it, I couldn't find the plastic piece that the carb mounts to over here, because this motor didn't have the top cover when I bought it. So the carb moved whenever you gave it gas, it moved up. So what I had to do was I took a 90-degree bracket like this one right here, going across. I put a slit in it, so one of the carburetor bolts can fasten to it, so the carburetor doesn't hardly move at all. As you can see, I'm moving it with my finger tiny bit, but it's not moving enough to really make a difference. And I slotted the chainsaw body, and it goes through and bolts just like that. And that's what holds that in there and gives me no problems. The spring is just a door spring I bought from Home Depot. They sell them in packs. It's looped around the arm of the carburetor throttle. It goes back, and then there's a self-tapping screw that goes through the other loop that keeps it from coming off, and it works good. Like I explained in one of the riding videos, the chain brake still works fine. It's actually really good for startup as a safety feature. Keeps the clutch from moving. Let's see, gear ratios. These engines don't have much low-end torque, so you need to gear them really, really high. This total output ratio, there's that 9-inch right there, a 1-inch right here, 2.5-inch right here, and another 1-inch on the clutch. And when you do your math, this equals out to about 19 to 1. So it's a high ratio. It's geared more for top speed than anything. It doesn't really have much low end torque, but once it gets in its last power band, it'll do about 38 to 40 miles an hour. So it's quite a ride. But yeah, overall ratio, like I said, is 19-to-1. That means that it takes 19 turns on the clutch on the motor for that back wheel to turn once, and that's good. You want a fairly high ratio like that so the clutch will fully engage and it won't burn out. Just like the scooter as well, I have a jack shaft set up on it. This is a 56cc Poulan chainsaw. There's a 1 inch on the clutch, 2.5 inch right here, or 2 inch. I can't really remember. All I know is the final output ratio on this one is 13-to-1. This one's got a lot better pull from the start than the bike does. This one honestly is a lot more comfortable to ride. It's not as fast, but it's fast enough. So, got a good many miles on it too. So. But anyway, this will be basically a video on how this thing was assembled. I'll probably do a few more things to it, you know, later on down the road, like hooking up a larger external tank. But for anybody that was wondering how it was made, this was basically in a nutshell the video that was going to explain that. If you really want me to point out something in particular, just shoot me a comment on the video or visit my Facebook page. Like I said, I have a Facebook page set up for all this called Single Cylinder Customs. It's easier to contact me on there. If you really want to keep up with my builds, I do post them on YouTube, but the page is the place to go. So yeah, but Donnie, I hope this answered your question, man. If you got any more questions on this stuff, just shoot me a message anytime, man. I'm free. I have your page liked on my Facebook page, so private message me and we can set something up. But yeah, like I said, if you got any more questions, just hit me up, man. And actually, I was going to ask you, as for Donnie, if you got any parts for some of these older chainsaws. I got a Pro Max 610 over there and an L65 right here, and then that Poulan 3400 right there. Poulan 3400 needs a clutch. If you have any of those parts that you're willing to sell them, man, I'll go ahead and buy them off you, or we can do a trade. I got a whole crate full of scrap motors over there that do run, so maybe we can trade off or something. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for now. If y'all got any more questions, just hit me up later.